Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to the session on land laws. In today's session, I will talk about the recommendations for land reforms, technological integration and policy evaluation. But before I will start this, in my previous lecture, what I had talked about is regarding the emerging issues in land rights, in which I had given an overview of the importance of land rights in India, because we have one of the foremost reason is socio-economic resource, because land is a vital resource that underpins the economic development, agricultural productivity and housing. So, by ensuring the land owners and the individuals, by giving them by providing them the knowledge of the land law, and it is essential because basically how the land can be effectively utilized, how it can be protected. So, this is essential to know that there is a remedy for the dispute arises between the parties with respect to land. So, in that I had discussed about the importance of land rights in India, about the certain laws and policies which are basically deals with the land use, like in that the foremost land law here is the right to fair compensation, transparency and land acquisition in Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act 2013, which plays an important role here with respect to the governance of the land rights, the ownership, the use and transfer of land in India, because there in that act there are certain provisions regarding the notification for the acquisition of land by the collector under section 4. It must be at the market value of the price. The landowners had given an opportunity to raise their concern, to raise any objection before the collector, and after hearing the parties, the collector suggests and give fair compensation to the parties in respect of those lands which are acquired by the government for public purposes. And I had also discussed in that session the emerging issues in land policy, in that the foremost is agriculture, the distribution of the land to the landless, the strengthening the women land rights, in which I had also discussed about the increasing legal awareness about the legal rights to the people. So, there are certain emerging issues in this and there is a need of land reform too, because land reform is required for equally redistribution of land to the landless people. It generally typically refers to that thing. So, in that session I had given an overview of the importance of land rights in India and the emerging issues in the land rights. Now, I will start with the today's session, which basically deals with recommendations for land reform and technological integration and policy evaluation. In India, the management and regulation of land have long been plagued by inefficiencies, outdated laws and complex bureaucratic processes. As India strides towards modernity, so there is an urgent need to reform land laws to enhance the transparency, efficiency and inclusivity. So, this entails leveraging technology for land record management, critically evaluating existing laws and policies and formulating recommendations for legal reforms. So, in India, the management of land having been plagued by various inefficiency and regarding the outdated laws, because they required certain amendments in certain provisions. We have complexity in bureaucratic processes, As India stride towards modernity, so there is an urgent need to reform the land laws, to enhance the transparency and efficiency, because only by this we can increase the efficiency and the transparency in recording the in land record management, and by critically evaluating the existing laws. So, by addressing these areas, we can better anticipate future trends and challenges in land rights, ensuring equitable access and sustainable development for all stakeholders. So, this exploration here seeks to outline strategic directions for the evolution of land laws, aiming to align them with contemporary needs and global best practices. So, there is a need for the strategic directions for the evolution of the land laws. We know we have certain laws for the land use, we have certain laws which govern the transfer of property, we have certain laws which basically imposed penalty over the party for not compliance with the provisions of those act. But in spite of that, there is a need for outlining the strategic directions for the evolution of land laws, which basically aiming to align them with contemporary needs and global best practices. In this, I will talk about the journey of digital land records in India, because India's land management practices are significantly transitioning due to the digitization of land records. So, this program here, it improves transparency, streamline administrative procedures, empower the citizens and promotes economic growth through smooth property transactions and effective dispute resolution by replacing antiquated paper based systems with digital platforms. Because earlier we had the paper based systems, like in Indian we have this Indian Registration Act 1908, which basically deals with the which streamlining the registration process to prevent fraud and to manage the accurate land records. But sometimes what happened, the files were still missing, suddenly, there were no records, the records were, so there were certain reasons basically for, so that is why here there is a need of digital land records, so that it ensures transparency, because parties at any time they can access their records, their documents online, they can access the accuracy regarding the effective dispute resolution is there. So, these programs here improve streamline administrative procedures too by providing the digital land records. And in this next I will talk about why digitization of land record management system is needed in India. To reduce litigation, this is the foremost reason here, because land related disputes account for a large proportion of pending court cases in India, which take a long time and cost to resolve. A comprehensive and transparent land record management system can reduce the scope and frequency of such disputes by providing clear and secure ownership rights that are backed by the government. So, this is one of the reason why digitization of land records management system is needed in India, to reduce litigation process, because whenever the dispute arises between the parties, whenever there is a disagreement between the parties with respect to a piece of property over the rights in that property regarding ownership, whether it may be related to any possession, whether it be related to maintenance of the property. So, whenever such type of dispute arises between the parties, leasehold rights, some rights which are given there by the laws. So, if there is a violation or if there is a breach of those terms and conditions of under the agreement, then the party has the only remedy to go before the court earlier. Because before the amendment 1999 amendment in CPC, we have only the remedy which can be gained by only by going through the court process. So, after this amendment in Code of Civil Procedure in 1999, section 89 here was inserted, by which now the person can go for the other alternative modes except this litigation, because we have alternative redressal mechanisms, like we have the arbitration, conciliation, mediation, negotiation for resolving the dispute. So, the party must know, and this land law here it basically here addresses the challenges to resolve their dispute effectively and fairly by maintaining social harmony and the ensuring legal certainty, because by this process the parties more frequently they set their by compromising, they take their own decision without the decision given by the judge. Their involvement is more in such type of resolution mechanisms. So, whenever the land related disputes goes before the court, it is expensive to, it is take a long time. So, that is why there is a huge backlog of cases in court. So, that is why this amendment helps a lot, because after that the land related disputes, in that the parties may go for other mechanisms. But now in the digital world, now when we have this era, technological era, so it can also provide transparency in the land record management system, which can reduce the scope and frequency of such disputes by providing them clear and secure ownership rights that are backed by the government. So, this is the main reason. Next is to improve transparency. Land records in India are often inaccurate, outdated and fragmented across different departments and levels of government. A comprehensive and transparent land record management system, it can improve the quality and accessibility of land records by digitizing them and linking them to spatial data and other databases such as Aadhaar, tax records, etc. So, the land records in India also provide or the inaccuracy, because earlier what happened, the land records are often inaccurate, they are outdated. So, to overcome these shortcomings, we have this transparent land record management system, which can improve the quality and the accessibility of the land records by digitizing them. Like we have an example, we have Aadhaar, which is linked with that. If anyone purchase the property, they have to give these documents which are there recorded as a tax records, etc. Next is to promote development. Land is a valuable asset that can attract investment, promote industrialization and boost growth. Because this land law in India is a cornerstone of the nation's legal and socio-economic framework, and as it governs the ownership, as it governs the use and transfer of land, it is a critical asset in a deeply you can say that agrarian society like India. So, it is a valuable asset that can attract investment here, promote industrialization and boost growth. A comprehensive and transparent land record management system, it can create a conducive environment for land markets and transactions by reducing transaction cost, risk and uncertainties. It can also enable the landowners to access credit, insurance and markets by using their land titles as collateral. So, this is also why digitization is essential in these land records, because to promote development, this is a very valuable asset. That is why a transparent land record management system, it can create a conducive environment for the land markets. Next is to ensure equity. A comprehensive and transparent land record management system can support the implementation of land reforms that aim to redistribute land among the landless and marginalized sections of society. It can also empower women and other vulnerable groups by recognizing their land rights and enhancing their access to land related services. So, this is also one of the reason why digitization is essential, because for ensuring equitable development and the sustainable use of resources, because by this it helps in addressing the or protecting the rights of the indigenous community, the forest dwellers and the landless people, because the main aim of the land reform here is to redistribute the lands to the landless people and the marginalized sections of the society by strengthening the women's access to land. So, by this it can also empower the women and other vulnerable groups by recognizing their land rights. Now, I will talk about what are the challenges here associated with the land record digitization, because there are the challenges which are associated here with this land record management, land record digitization, because we have the data migration moving from paper based or outdated digital systems to modern platforms is complex and time consuming. So, this is one of the challenge here which is associated with the land record digitization, because earlier what happened, we have the paper based system in which the hard copy is there, but now they are outdated, and the digital system it require modern platforms which is complex here and time consuming. Data accuracy, ensuring the correctness and integrity of the digitized records is crucial to avoid legal disputes. So, by this they ensure the correctness and integrity of the digitized records, which is basically crucial to avoid legal disputes. In that sense also, privacy and security, protecting sensitive land and personal data from unauthorized access or breaches is essential here. Interoperability, making different systems which are compatible for seamless data exchange and collaboration, it can also be difficult here. Legal framework, updating laws to accommodate digital transactions and ensure the legality of digital records is necessary in this sense. Next, I will talk about the several steps here taken by the government to digitize land records and improve land administration. In this, the first step here is the National Land Records Modernization Program, known as NLRMP in short form, Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, National Generic Document Registration System, Swamitv scheme, integration with Aadhaar. So, these are the various steps here which are taken by the government to digitize the land records and improve the land administration. So, now I will give an overview of the National Land Records Modernization Program and the Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, because here the main aim of both here is to modernize the land records and registration processes. So, by digitizing cadastral maps, computerizing land records, establishing modern record rooms. So, by this they can enhance or they can give more transparency in the deals with basically the land records and the registration processes. We have this National Land Record Modernization Program 2008, in which it laid down the groundwork for digitization, transparency and dispute reduction. We have the Digital India Land Record Modernization Program 2015, which mainly focused on the comprehensive land information management. It has certain goals also, because by streamlining the land administration, facilitate transactions, reduce disputes. So, it has its own objective to modernize the land records and the registration processes. So, in this it played an important role here, both the programs National Land Record Modernization Program and the Digital India Land Record Modernization Program. Next here I will give an overview of this digitization of land records modernization program, because here the main aim of this digitization of land record management program is to digitize and update the textual and spatial records of land ownership and transactions such as sale deeds, inheritance records, mortgage and lease documents, cadastral maps, etc. So, as the land laws, it basically outline this land law outline the legal rights of the landholders of the tenant and the other investors, other stakeholders. So, it is necessary to basically know about their because there is whenever there is a dispute regarding the inheritance, there is a conflict regarding inheritance, regarding the unclear title, regarding lease documents and mortgage. So, this digitization of land record management modernization program, it here helps in updating the textual and spatial records of land ownership. So, by this they will help in resolving the dispute between the parties with respect to the inheritance conflicts, inheritance records, mortgage and lease documents are registered, the records of land is there in regarding these transactions. So, these records are made available online to the public and are updated regularly. So, this helps to reduce errors, inconsistencies and gaps in land data and make them more reliable and transparent. So, these records with respect to these transactions, whether it be lease deed, whether it be mortgage deed, whether it be the sale deed, inheritance records. So, these are here available by these records online to the public and are updated regularly. So, by this it helps in reducing the errors, it helps in reducing the inconsistency arises there and gaps in land data and make them more reliable and transparent. So, it enhance the transparency, it make them effectively and make them more reliable with respect to these records of the transactions. So, this DILR MP aims to implement the conclusive land titling system with title guarantee, which means that the land records, it provide a conclusive proof of ownership of land and are backed by the government. So, the main aim of this program here is to implement the conclusive land titling system with title guarantee, because when it is there digitally recorded and it is openly accessed by the public. So, there is no era of that land records were because they were here considered as a conclusive proof of ownership. So, no one can change the title, no one can change the name of the parties there and it are backed by the government too. So, this is one of the aim, this is one of the objective to implement the conclusive land titling system, which provided a conclusive proof of the ownership of the land, and the title holder is protected from any challenge or dispute by other claimants because it is there in record. So, by this it provides a protection to the tenant holder from any challenge or dispute by other claimants and is indemnified by the government in case of any loss arising from any defect in the title. So, this helps to reduce the scope and frequency of land related disputes and frauds, which account for a large proportion of pending court cases in India. So, by protecting the rights of the title holder here, it helps in reducing the scope and frequency of land related disputes which goes before the court to prevent frauds, which account for a large proportion of pending court cases in India. So, that is why here its main objective is to protect the title holder, to implement the conclusive land titling system with title guarantee. Now, this digitization program, it aims to create a conducive environment also for the land markets and transactions by reducing transaction cost, risk and uncertainties. This is another objective, this is another reason of this program, to create a healthy environment, a conducive environment for the land markets and transactions by reducing the transaction cost as per the market value and the uncertainties which are there. So, it also enables landowners to access the credit, insurance and markets by using their land titles as collateral. This helps to attract investment, promote industrialization and boost growth in various sectors such as agriculture, infrastructure, housing, etc. It also aims to support the implementation of land reforms that aims to redistribute land among the landless and the marginalized sections of the society. So, by this it ensures equity and empowerment, because it also empowers women and other vulnerable groups by recognizing their land rights and enhancing their access to land related services. So, this helps to improve their livelihoods, dignity and social status. So, it also ensures this equity and empowerment for the marginalized sections of society. Next, we have National Generic Document Registration System, which was introduced in 2019 as a unified online platform for document registration and verification. So, this National Generic Document Registration System was first introduced in 2019 only, and it as a unified online platform for the document registration purpose, for the verification of the documents, and its main objective here is to streamline the property registration processes. This is the main objective here of this National Generic Document Registration System, and the main feature of this system here is to standardized electronic registration, verification, reduced paperwork. And the benefit which here by this, because it enhance the transparency, it ensure more efficiency and accountability in land administration. So, by introducing this National Generic Document Registration System in 2019, the online platform for the document registration and verification process is again a major step towards the digitization of the land records. We have another that is Swamitva scheme, which was launched in 2020, which here aims to survey rural inhabited land parcels using drone technology. So, it was launched in 2020 and its main aim here is to make a survey regarding the rural inhabited land parcels for using drone technology, and the main goal of this Swamitva scheme is to issue property cards to the rural landowners for tenure security and access to services. So, by this one can have an access of the they were issued property cards to the landowners by which they can secure their for the tenure security and access to services, and it can only be done by drone based surveying to overcome traditional surveying challenges. So, this is the method by which they can here overcome with these challenges, and the impact of this scheme is to the reduction in disputes, improved land governance and rural development planning. So, the main impact of this Swamitva scheme in land use is basically reduction in disputes, because when there is a transparency, when there is more efficient because drone based surveying is there to overcome these challenges. So, these surveying, it basically it has some records there, and the landowners, rural landowners, if they were issued the cards, they have more security and access to services. So, that is why by improving this land governance and rural development planning, it has fulfilled all the objectives, all the goals which has in this scheme. It has been very effectively implemented here by this 2020 Swamitva scheme, which was launched in 2020. Integration with Aadhaar is one of the next step, because integration of land records with Aadhaar for the authentication and verification, because this is the only proof of the genuineness of a document, that it is genuine, it is verified. So, this integration of land records with Aadhaar and verification is important step here, and the main benefit of this one is it enhanced the security, it reduced fraud, it minimized the paperwork in property transactions, because by enhancing the security, because when the land records are integrated with Aadhaar for the verification, so by this it has reduced the fraud, it minimized the paperwork in property transactions too. And the mechanism by which these things here has been done was the property owners, they authenticate identity using biometric information during the transactions. So, they has to authenticate their identity using the biometric information during transactions, and it basically resulted in promote transparency, efficiency and accountability in the land administration. So, by this also it enhanced the here transparency, efficiency and accountability in the land administration. Next, I will talk about the challenges which are associated here with the land record digitization. Although we have the various benefits with this digitization, that it reduces the paperwork, it reduces fraud, it makes more efficient, it ensures the transparency, but although it also face some challenges which are associated with this land record digitization. In this, the first one is lack of coordination and cooperation among states. This is one of the challenge here in this land record digitization, because land is mentioned in the state list in entry 18, and every state have their different laws with respect to the land use. It vary from different state, it vary which is basically based on different religion, custom, traditional practices, because different states have different customary practices, different they follow different religions, they have a different cultures. So, there is a lack of coordination and cooperation among states. So, this is one of the challenge here which associated with this land record digitization, because land is a state subject and the implementation of the DILRMP depends on the willingness and cooperation of the state governments. So, when the state cooperatively work on this, only then it has the good results. So, however, some states are reluctant or slow to adopt the scheme due to the various reasons such as political, administrative, legal or technical constraints. So, some states do not want to adopt this program due to various reasons, because there are certain reasons like political, like administrative, legal reason, for technical constraint. So, they are reluctant. So, there is also a lack of coordination and standardization among the states in terms of inadequate resources and capacity. That is another reason, because here this program, it requires adequate financial, human and technical resources and capacity to carry out the massive task of modernizing the land record systems in the country. So, due to the inadequate resource and the capacity, it again fails here in achieving those goals which has there in the scheme, which has there in the program. So, however, there is a shortage of funds, staff, equipment and infrastructure at various levels of implementation. There is also a need for training and capacity building of the concerned officials and functionaries on the use of modern technology and tools for land record management. Next, I will talk about the lack of awareness and participation among stakeholders, because this program, it requires the active involvement and participation of various stakeholders such as the landowners, buyers, sellers, tenants, intermediaries, etc., who are directly affected by the changes in the land record system. So, this program here, it requires the active involvement of these persons who are directly affected by the changes in the land record system. So, due to the lack of awareness and the participation of these landowners, these stakeholders, these tenants, these buyers, sellers, so they were greatly affected by the changes in the land record system. However, there is a lack of awareness and sensitization among them about the benefits and the procedures of this program, because most of the population in and most of the backward area of the various states, they are lacking of the technology there, using of technology, how to use, how to see their records in online mode. So, there is a lack of awareness too. So, by providing awareness programs, by organizing organizing these type of workshops regarding the participation of these owners, buyers, sellers. So, by this it can help the in taking the and digitizing the land records more fruitful. Way forward, next I will talk about the way forward and the recommendations. The path ahead here requires to enhance the coordination and cooperation among states, because this is one of the challenge which was faced by these programs, because the central and the state governments, they need to work together here to overcome the challenges and the issues faced by this program, because as this land is mentioned in the state list, and different states have different cultures, they have different laws. So, that is why there is a need to work together to overcome the challenges and the issues which are faced by this program. They need to harmonize and streamline the land laws, the policies, procedures and system across the states. So, by this they it will help in maintaining the social harmony and maintaining the ensuring the legal certainty too. They also need to share the best practices and experiences of these program among themselves. So, by this it can help in the digitization, helpful in the digitization of the land records, if they work together, and issues faced by them in the collaborative mode, in the cooperation among the states. Next is maintaining transparency. This is again one of the path ahead, which requires the central and the state governments need to take strict action against any sabotage and manipulation of this program, because if the strict actions were not taken by the state, then also people took it very liberally, and they do so many kinds of with the records, like they do not follow the procedure, they do not follow the guidelines given by the directions issued by the authorities. So, they need to ensure transparency and accountability in the process of land survey, digitization, verification and titling. They also need here to create a grievance redressal mechanism for resolving any dispute. So, this is also a need here to create the grievance redressal mechanism for resolving any dispute. Although we have in the this right to fair compensation transparency in land acquisition, Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act 2013, there are the provisions where the landowners, the affected parties can go before the authority redressing to resolve their dispute effectively by addressing their challenges, by raising their objections before the authority and getting the proper remedy. So, by creating this grievance redressal mechanism here also, it plays an important role in maintaining the. So, implementation is required in this area also, because land dispute arises day to day in our day to day life, because land dispute arises very commonly, and it arises from various issues like the unclear titles, the inheritance conflicts, and there are certain urbanization pressure is there. So, there are many various reasons by which the land dispute arises in India more frequently. So, for this we this is the right time to create a grievance redressal mechanism for resolving these kind of disputes, land related disputes. Mobilizing adequate resources and capacity again is one of the major concern here. The central and state government both need to allocate sufficient funds, the staff, equipment and infrastructure for the implementation of this program, because the central and state governments here when they come together in a collaborative mode, then there is a need to allocate these funds, staff, equipment for administering the land administration process, for the implementation of this program. So, they also need to provide training and capacity building to the concerned officials and functionaries on the use of modern technology and tools for land record management. They may also leverage the public private partnership mode of service delivery for enhancing the efficiency and convenience. So, there is a need to provide training and capacity building to the concerned officials, so that they can effectively deal with such type of or the use of modern technology in the technological era and tools for the land record management. So, there is a need to provide to organize such workshops regarding the use of technology and tools for land record management, so that it can be done effectively by these programs. It may also leverage the public private partnership to a mode of service delivery for enhancing these efficiency of this program and the convenience. Next is creating awareness and participation among stakeholders. The central and state governments need to create awareness and sensitization among the various stakeholders about the benefits and the procedures of this digitization program here, because the central and state governments, only by organizing these workshops, only by creating these awareness and sensitization programs, they can help in the it can raise more and more benefit and procedures of this program. They need to address their apprehensions or misconceptions about this program by providing clear and accurate information. They also need to encourage their involvement and participation in the process of land record management. So, by this they can help in encouraging the involvement and participation in the process of land record management. So, for this there is a need to create such programs, awareness programs and sensitization programs among the various stakeholders, the landowners, the tenants, the affected parties. They must know about the procedure and the benefits of this digitization program. They need to address their apprehension, misconceptions before the authority by providing clear and accurate information. In the last, I would like to conclude with this, that the digitization of land records in India has changed how land records are managed, improving efficiency, transparency and public improvement. So, the government's move to digitize land record is set to transform the country's age old land management system basically. So, the government's move to digitize this thing to digitize the land records from the old age land management system, it is one of the major step towards the protection of the land rights of the people, to give ensure more transparency in this one. So, this initiative under the Digital India program, it involves conversion of paper based records into electronic formats. So, for more than 90% for more than 94% of the right records and the state specific registration offices have already been digitized under the Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, and officials said complete digitization will be achieved soon. So, with several states making good progress on this front, the shift promises to streamline the administrative processes too, in reducing the disputes, curb land linked legal activities and bolster investor confidence here. So, digitization of land records is important because it involves a series of interconnected components. So, this includes the digitization of existing paper records through data entry and scanning processes. So, the geographic information system mapping is then employed to spatially represent land parcels, creating a comprehensive and accurate overview. So, the establishment of a centralized database, it ensures the systematic storage and retrieval of digitized land records. So, finally, the online accessibility through web portals, it ensures that stakeholders can easily retrieve and verify land related information. So, digitization of land records, it holds immense significance as it has the potential to enhance the transparency in land related transactions. It reduce property ownership disputes and make land management efficient. So, the benefits which here are extended to improved governance, quicker retrieval of the information, it reduced corruption, it increased accessibility to land related data. So, this contributes to the establishment of the robust and the reliable land revenue system here, because the government here has been proactive in promoting digitization of land records. Initiatives such as I had already discussed about the National Land Record Modernization Program and the Digital India Land Records Modernization Program have been pivotal in driving this process. So, these initiatives here provide financial and technological support to the states, encouraging the adoption and implementation of digital and management systems. So, as I had also discussed that despite ongoing difficulties here, despite the progress made, several challenges still persist. So, legacy data issues, stakeholders resistance to change, infrastructure gaps in certain regions and legal and procedural complexities pose hurdles to achieving seamless digitization. So, addressing these challenges, it requires a concerted efforts to ensure a smooth transition to digital land records. So, the impact of this digitization of land records here is expected to be a game changer for the Indian real estate sector basically, because it enhances the transparency and reliability of the information. It reduces the risk which are associated here with the investments. So, investors here gain confidence in the system's ability to provide accurate and up to date data by facilitating the smoother transactions here. So, this in turn attracts the domestic and global investment into the real estate market, contributing to its growth. So, these digital land record will play a key role here in the government's impactful policy making. The availability of accurate real time data will empower the government to make evidence based decisions related to the land use planning, infrastructure development and urbanization policies. So, this in turn is expected here to foster overall economic growth and development by aligning policies with the actual land related scenarios. The digitization of land records in India here represents a transformative practice, a transformative here initiative with profound implications. So, beyond modernizing the land management here system, it contributes significantly to transparent governance, facilitates efficient investment scenarios in the real estate sector. It leads to informed policy making at the governmental level. So, as the digitization process here advances, its positive impact on land management and related sectors is expected to become increasingly evident. So, this digitization of land records in India, it has changed how the land records are management by improving the efficiency and transparency and public empowerment. So, the government moved to digitize these land records here is set to transform the country's age-old management system. Processes have been streamlined, corruption has been decreased. So, despite ongoing difficulties, a complete and trustworthy digital land management system here will be possible with ongoing investment in infrastructure, digital literacy and strong cyber security safeguards. So, for this the central and the state government has to work together in a collaborative manner, so that they organize such type of sensitization programs, such type of awareness programs, by which the official, the persons who deal with such type of land in digitizing the or in making the land records online in an online mode. So, they must know about, they must know how to use the technology. So, millions of Indians here stands to gain from the digital revolution in land records, which also improves governance and boost public confidence in the land administration system. So, by digitizing the land records, they replace the old age paper based land records, as we have the Indian Registration Act, in which we all know that there are provisions which ensures the transparency, which prevents fraud by providing or managing the accurate land records there with respect to the certain transactions which were there between the seller, buyer, the landowners, about the tenant rights. So, that is important here to note, and after this session you will be able to know how why digitization is important in recording these land records, basically because the paper based documents may be missed, missing at any time. So, that is why it can be accessed by the people, by the landowners, by the stakeholders in an online mode at any time whenever they want here to deal with this type of records. So, this has changed the whole administration, land administration, and it resolved the disputes very quicker, because when the people has in their hands the information, proper information, relevant information with respect to the transaction, they have the evidence. So, and these evidences here are now by the Amendment Act in the Information Technology Act 2000, there also it provides an these electronic records are now considered as an evidence in our Indian Evidence Act too. So, this digitization of land records has changed the how land records are management. It improves efficiency, it improves here public empowerment, it strengthens the main base of this digital program, the national level program, the Swamita scheme, which was there enacted in launched in 2020. So, processes have been streamlined by these process, and it helps in basically it equips the individual with knowledge to navigate the complexities of the land related disputes, and to contribute towards the broader goal of the in achieving the sustainable and inclusive development. So, this by knowing their land rights, because it is one of the important major concern of our because lands play an important role here in providing the in basically getting the livelihoods by the marginalized people. So, it basically governs the rights of the communities. So, in this way the digitization is very important, it plays an important role here in changing the life of the vulnerable population, marginalized vulnerable population here, the indigenous people, they know their rights. So, that is why we have so many difficulties in as we know, we have so many laws are here to govern these land rights. In line we have so many laws, as I had already discussed about the Indian Contract Act, about the Indian Registration Act, Indian Stamp Act, Indian Easement Act. All these laws deals with the land rights and land use in India, because it governs the governance of the related to the body of laws that deals with the ownership, with the use, boundaries and access. So, the digitization is equally played here an important role in changing and in getting the more transparency in the records, basically, because it also provides a certain type of security to the person, that they have relevant information in their hands, because by integrating the Aadhaar card, one has linked with the in their land records, the person has various kinds of details are there in the records, and millions of Indians, they stand to regain from the digital revolution in land records, which also here improves the governance and boost the public confidence here in the land administration system, because by this one can access the records very easily at any time. So, the digitization, I must say that it changed the life of the people in India, because by this the people are getting more and more more security in the purpose of their, it is fruitful in that way, like they getting fruitful ownership rights, ownership, the land owners, the tenants, all these getting more and more benefit from these type of records. So, the millions of Indians are benefited by this digitization of land records in India. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gillette Sam and I teach sociology at IIT Kanpur. I'm here to tell you a little bit about how we can think about globalization in a sociological manner. Now, one of the important concepts in the field of globalization and particularly global studies is that of global flows. It's a term that was developed by the sociologist and anthropologist Arjun Appadurai. He said that as the world is becoming a more and more global place, you increasingly see the movement of different types of things, both tangible and non-tangible, across multiple national borders. To begin with, you can look at how your day proceeds. I often need a cup of tea to actually start my day. Now, if you think about it, tea that we drink is not something that is that originated in India. It's actually a drink that comes to us from quite far away in China. And this is something that has happened not immediately, but it has happened 400 or 500 years ago. So this kind of movement actually happened with the movement of people. Now, this kind of movement of people and goods is one category of flows that Appadurai talks about. A second category of flows could be financial flows. And a good way to think about this is the kind of volatility that you can see in economic markets today. For instance, in 2008, the whole world experienced a very serious economic jolt. Developments in the country of Iceland had a huge repercussion across many, many countries in the world. Now, that gives you an indication of the kind of financial flows that are a part of globalization. So we are not only talking about money flowing from place to place, but also financial decisions made in one place having an impact on other parts of the world. Appadurai also argues that there is a third category of flows which he refers to as the flow of images or media. Now, this is something that I'm sure you're quite used to. Much of the programming that you watch on television today, for instance, you may actually be watching channels that have originated or programming that's originated elsewhere. More than that, it could also be that the programming that you see today is influenced by shows that have originated abroad. Similarly, you can have content that was made in India